Welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name is David, and this is a deck review. Today, we're going to look at the Legacy series. The Legacy series was first released on Kickstarter, actually twice, and both times it didn't fund. And so, fortunately, what happened the second time around was Gambler's Warehouse picked it up and fronted the money and had it released anyway. The Legacy decks, they were put out by 4 p.m. If you remember 4 p.m. Designs, they also did the grid. Okay, and so this series comes with 3 colors. You get 2 colors from the United States Playing Card Company. You get the red and the blue, and you get the black color, the black unbranded color from Apollo Playing Cards. Now, the reason behind this deck, it's come to age, is that since 1885. The United States Playing Card Company, they've been printing and making decks, and they are really the most popular and demanded brand of playing cards around the world. We call them Bicycle typically, and even though they've released just a myriad of back designs, the back design that they are probably most recognized for is, of course, the 808 rider back. You've seen that design with lots of different colors. You've seen that design with lots of different themes. But overall, the little angel on the back riding the bike, that's kind of been there since the beginning. And so what 4 p.m. wanted to do was keep tradition in what makes that design a really great and memorable brand, and then inspire it a little bit. So what 4 p.m. did was they worked with the United States Playing Card Company to kind of push what makes the rider back great, and then bring their customers a new design that's kind of inspired by the original. And so I think the back design still keeps a lot of the same integrity and what you and I are familiar with when we think about Bicycle, and yet it adds to it and it kind of creates something new, and then you have the Legacy. So Bicycle Legacy, this is a true set of unique poker cards. That means everything's been redone. You've got hand-drawn courts, new aces, new jokers. All 3 of these decks have a new appeal and a very simplistic layout, but yet at the same time, it has a very familiar feel in that it sort of reminds you of a traditional Bicycle deck. So this makes Legacy just a great deck all around for Magic, cardistry, even poker games. So let's take a look at these 3 decks, and for this review, we'll be taking a look at the black deck. To look closely at the black deck, it is an unbranded deck because, of course, this deck wasn't printed by Bicycle, so it doesn't carry any of the Bicycle elements to it. There is more ornate corners on this than opposed to the red or blue deck. You still get the same cigar band going around the outside, but your colorings now are black and yellow. All right, and there's, of course, white for your differential, but it's more of a black and yellow type deck. You're still going to get the ornate spade there in the center. Nothing, though, on the sides of the deck, and the bottom just simply says Legacy Black Edition right there. The top size still says poker size and has the Legacy Angel icon, and of course the back also carries the back of the card branding. The tuck flap also says Legacy, but the inside is white. There's nothing printed on the inside of this tuck. From just a collector's point of view, I wasn't really impressed with Apollo's tuck case, and I think part of it is because it's printed on the same type of material that they print their cards on. It doesn't have a different feel to it, and what happens is the texture of the tuck case, coinciding with just how it was assembled, it kind of makes the box a little bubbly. It feels like there's extra room inside. The cards don't fit snug, they kind of bounce around. And then some of the edges don't line up perfectly, and you're kind of getting a little bit of rubbing and some burning on the black ink, because once you take something and you print it with a heavy black ink and then you start bending the edges tend to get like this white scoring, and that's been happening all over this tuck case. But that's beside the point. I mean, how many decks of cards do you have from Apollo? So I think this is Apollo's attempt to kind of break into the playing card field like you see a lot of other companies, and so I think being one of their first attempts, they did a really good job. That's pretty much it for the tuck case. Let's take a look at these cards. The back design of the black Legacy is exactly the same as the blue and the red. You see the same kind of artwork that is involved in the bicycle rider back, but with some of the Legacy embellishments. Of course, the angel there is riding on the back of a bicycle with his wings outspread. He's riding on the grass that we're familiar with. The birds are floating up there in the air. There's a kind of a ornate kind of scroll work that goes around the edges, making your border. And then some very familiar rider back themes up in the tops and sides. It's a very beautiful back. Again, it's black and yellow. It's not necessarily a true black deck, but I think the yellow kind of helps complement some of the extra details and allows the back design to pop. The faces of the cards are also black, which is nice because then when you have reverse cards, you're getting a true black on black design. That said, you're not getting any of the embellishments that were on the red and blue decks. This is a solid black background, and so what that does is it kind of interferes a little bit with the red ink of some of the pips, just because the red on this deck is so dark, it kind of washes into the black, but I don't think that's really a feature. And some of the things you're going to get with this deck, the first thing is you're going to get a single joker. Sometimes the reason why you get a single joker as opposed to a double in a deck is some of the other playing card companies, their run is smaller, their sheet, their uncut sheet is smaller, and so they don't cut as many cards as their competitors. And so apparently from Apollo, 4PM decided to go with a single joker because of the 2 ad cards that were included in this deck. So it's a straight black and yellow card. There isn't really anything else to it. The Ace of Spades is almost the same as the blue and red decks. It still says Legacy and created by 4PM Designs, but you're missing out on the bicycle branding at the top. The other thing you're going to get with this deck is you're getting your double backer, which, so they chose to give you a gaff instead of an extra joker. And so I don't know how you feel about that. I guess Magicians might like it. And then the other thing you're going to get is you're going to get 2 ad cards, one for playingcards.net and one for Gambler's Warehouse. They do have the Legacy back design, but they're pretty much just straightforward ad cards and kind of useless. The bases on these cards also different a little bit from the blue and red. Instead of the black pips, you're going to have yellow pips. And of course the red pips will still be red. You're still going to get the same font up in the corners, which is a brand new font. And the other thing you're going to get also is the additional pip and indice on the opposite side. And what this does, it allows the deck to be fanned from the left or from the right. And I'll show you what that looks like right now. Hey, here's the black Legacy deck in a reverse spread. So these are the pips and indices that are in the upper right corner. And so you can really see just kind of the difference it makes with the cards going the other direction. And just in contrast, here is the black Legacy deck in a correct spread with the deck going from left to right. So these are the pips and indices that are in the upper left corner. Also with the Legacy Edition deck, you're going to get brand new redrawn court cards. Now these courts, they do carry a lot of the same themes, weaponry, and clothing that you would expect and recognize from a bicycle branded deck. But for the purpose of the Legacy Edition, they've all been redrawn and they are all completely custom. Hey, so here's a close-up view of the poker chips that came from Gambler's Warehouse if you order them in addition to the cards. They are identical on both sides. They do kind of have a mirrored kind of flipped image, but there's no need to show you the back side since it looks exactly like the front side. Here's the blue poker chip and the red poker chip and the black poker chip. I can't really tell you how this deck is made because there really isn't much known about Apollo playing cards, or at least I don't know that much about Apollo playing cards. I was surprised at how durable they are. They are a very nice, crisp, snappy stock, and they are thin. They kind of feel like they could be on a thicker casino stock, but that's just me. The difference between casino stock and retail stock isn't really that much, and so it's just it does feel like a really strong, sturdy deck. The corners on these are really nice and they're really smooth. I really was impressed with the cut of the deck. My deck had a burn edge on one side but not on the other, so that didn't really help how I felt about the deck. If you look closely at the cards and you hold them up in a bright light and you look right at the edge of them, you can see that there is a linen texture that's been embossed into the front and back. So they do kind of have a linen embossing, and so that helps them just with spreads and with glides. So they do handle very well. I think for a imposter deck or a smaller print company, I think the cards from Apollo, they do a pretty good job. So that's it for this deck review. As always, we recommend that you like this video just so other people will find it faster. We also recommend that you subscribe to this channel just to stay up to date on the latest in cards and card magic. You can follow us on Twitter, which is twitter.com/magicorthodoxy. You can also like our page on Facebook, which is facebook.com/magicorthodoxy. Thanks. Bye.